Hi. So I wanted to just unpack these questions that I posted on my status right now. So basically, I'm going to read them off of my phone. So the first question was, does people pleasing stem from a place of not having the skill set on building meaningful relationships? Or does it stem from a place of constantly being surrounded by shallow people? And just to give context on what I mean by shallow people, like those people that you kind of want to build friendships with, but they don't get deep with you. They're constantly, it's like you remain on the whole acquaintances level, but you never progress past that. So that's basically what I meant by shallow. And then I was like, oh, maybe I should paraphrase it to, can people pleasing stem from a place of not having the skill set on building meaningful relationships? And then the other questions that I asked were also, how do we go about learning and teaching the skills needed to build meaningful relationships with others, not only for ourselves, but also for the younger generation? And remember to take into consideration the world we currently live in now and how consumed we are with social media in the digital world. Then the other questions that I had were, how would the way the world is currently influence you to raise your child or younger siblings, cousins, nieces, and nephews? Would you prioritize teaching them that skill, or do you feel it wouldn't be as relevant and it wouldn't be as much of a priority for you? Would you base your upbringing on what you think the child may would you base your upbringing on what you think the child may prioritize? Would you seclude them from the world until they're ready to face it? And then I ended it off with just some food for thought. And so I wanted to just discuss or touch on that because obviously, yes, I posted it with the intent of asking people, and whoever wants to respond can respond. But in terms of people pleasing, so as I, was reading these questions, so I'm basing this off of what my lecturer says when we learn about subluxations and how we cannot, as chiropractors, so I'm just touching in on what we've been learning in class. We cannot, as chiropractors, claim that that one specific thing can, how do I put this in words? Oh my gosh. We cannot say that okay, if we only adjust, this is all that it will impact on the body, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense. I think I need to go touch up on how to explain this in layman terms. But, you cannot claim that without fully understanding what a subluxation is. And so a subluxation, when you think about it, there's different aspects of it. There's different things that influence that subluxation. So there isn't one specific definition for it. And so based off of the different sectors that based off of the different factors that that contribute to the subluxation or that cause the subluxation, that's what you define it by, if that makes sense, for that specific patient. And so the definition differs for each patient. Okay, I'm going off topic. So I was so with that, when it comes to people pleasing, it's us having to understand what exactly is people pleasing. And that's why I thought about paraphrasing the question to, can people pleasing, stem from a place of not having the skill set on building meaningful relationships. And for me, I feel that the answer is yes, but it's also what does people pleasing mean? And there's different things that factor into people pleasing. And I know I struggled with that. I mean, I still do. Like, there are times and I'm like, I don't think it's as bad as it used to be. Let me just say that. But I feel that there are there there is that desire or that tendency to give into people pleasing, to make sure that the other person is happy, and that they appreciate what you do. Like, there's that. I think there's a normal side of people pleasing, like it's something that we can't take away from ourselves. Like, that is our nature. But then there's the times when it's extreme, and it's like you literally do not even prioritize how you feel, or when it gets to the point where it's affecting you in all the different sectors of your life, but you want to make this other person happy, and it's like you don't even have boundaries that are set up for you. That's when it becomes an issue. And so with the question of, does people pleasing stem from a place of not having the skill set on building meaningful relationships? I think in a way it does, especially in the times that we live in now. Because a lot of friendships are shallow and they just lack depth. It's so easy to get into that habit of, I need to give this person like this and this and this, and I need to do this and this and this for this person to remain my friend. And if I don't, then this person is going to leave. And it's this desire to want to keep that person. But then I think, taking that into consideration, that causes us to get to a point where it's like we do not even understand our value. We don't understand how valuable we are. We put aside how we feel, what we are thinking, and all these other different things to be able to make the other person happy. And I'm not saying this to say, once we start building meaningful relationships, then people pleasing will cease to exist. Like I said, there's different things that contribute to people pleasing. But I think one of the things is learning how to build proper friendships, proper relationships with people. And I can definitely attest to this, in the sense that I don't really know how to build friendships. I don't know how to build deep, meaningful relationships. And, that's what the Lord has been helping me through. Just learning to obviously accept help. Learning how to ask for help. Learning why. There was something else that I learned recently, which was with certain things and with certain people, I would feel comfortable asking them to help me out with something. But then with other people, I would feel so uncomfortable, asking them. And so let me explain how this came about. So I was at church, right? And I needed to ask a friend for something. And it was so debilitating, like the anxiety that I felt because I needed help for this thing. And it didn't stem from a place of fear, but I didn't also know why I was really struggling to ask this person to help me out with that thing. And my friend at church was like, Tilly, you literally asked me, because I asked her earlier if the people that I buy my hair products from could drop my stuff off at her office, and then I asked if she could just bring it with, when I meet her in community. And she was like, Tilly, you asked me to bring your stuff on that day and you didn't like hesitate. Like, how did you feel in that moment? And I was like, oh no, it was chill. Like, I didn't really think much about it. And then she was like, but then why do you struggle to ask my other friend for a lift to church? And I was like, yo, that is so hectic. Because I never thought about that. Like, I never thought about the fact that with some people I'm comfortable. Like, maybe I did from a perspective of, why can't I just be this person that is able to ask whenever I need help? Like, why do I always feel like I'm struggling? Like, it's not from a place of fear, I know that, and it's not from a place of me being prideful. Like, what the heck is going on? And when she asked me that, I was like, oh Lord, like, I actually never thought about that. And I came home and we had load shedding, and I sat in my room, and as I was speaking to God, like, God revealed to me that it was because whenever I needed something from someone, like really needed something, people made me feel like I was burdening them in that moment. And they made me feel like I was inconveniencing them, and that kind of made me close off towards the idea of asking for help whenever I needed it. But if I were to ask someone to help me out when I wasn't in a place of need per se, to a point where like I cannot do it by myself, I need someone else to help me out. I felt chilled about asking people for stuff. And when I got that revelation, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And after that, like, I'm not going to say it hasn't been uncomfortable still, learning how to ask people for help, but it's been a lot easier, and I haven't been hard on myself, because every time I'd want to ask someone for help, I wouldn't do it, and then I'd be hard on myself because I was like, Tilly, like, why can't you ask this person for something? Like, why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? And yeah, so that's now one of the things I've been learning, like in terms of just building that skill of building deep, meaningful relationships. And I think it also stems from, what do you define as a deep, meaningful relationship? I think for me, it's, I want to be able to be vulnerable with the other person, where I feel comfortable asking them for help when I need it. And that's what the Lord has been teaching me now. And I also do believe that it also stems from a place of being surrounded by shallow people. And like in terms of people pleasing, if you don't know how to do something, and if you don't make that a priority to learn how to do that thing or to establish that skill that you need, you are more likely to do what's easier for you and you're more likely to go for the easier option. And the easier option is to build relationships with people that are shallow. And once you start realizing that, like, you know, there lacks depth. And I always wondered, like, with me, actually, I forgot what I was trying to say. I think for me, I always wondered, am I the problem? Like, I'm not the best at communicating, and it's something the Lord is also helping me with. I'm not the best at expressing my thoughts. Maybe to people, but like now when I'm talking, it's chilled. It's not that deep. That's also another thing I need to ask myself. Why is that? But yeah, like, where was I going with this? I actually forgot what I just said. Tilly. Okay. Anyways, I was touching on the whole being shallow, whatnot. Yeah, like, I don't really know how to get deep with people at times. Like, there's some people that it just comes naturally, but then there's other people where it's like I struggle. And last year, let me tell you about this. So last year, during this time, actually, I started my fast. Hold on. I started my social media fast, and not even social media, it was more of a digital detox that they were doing at church, because they spoke about anhedonia and how we get to a point where it's like our dopamine receptors become desensitized due to the amount of like dopamine that's being released. And so our body, like, we get to a point where we want to produce more dopamine for us to feel pleasure with whatever it is that we're doing. And during that time, I deleted Instagram, Snapchat. I stopped posting on my WhatsApp status, stopped watching people's WhatsApp statuses. And I was also trying not to watch YouTube shorts and stuff. In TikTok, I deleted that. And it was during that time when I realized that with some of the people that I considered to be my friends, they weren't actually my friends. And that was because they lacked depth. And so I made a post on my brain dump, and I touched on basically friendship and what friendship should look like, something along those lines. And it was during that, like, it just hit me that so many people, I wouldn't speak to them if I didn't post and if I wasn't watching their statuses. And it also taught me that I needed to be intentional with me checking in on people. You know, I also, in as much as people weren't deep with me, and it, like, we used our statuses to communicate with each other, or like us sharing videos to communicate with each other, you know, that during that time I also learned that I needed to be intentional about checking up on people. I needed to be intentional about asking people how they're doing, like actually messaging them, and to stop using that excuse of, like, yes, I'm not the best at messaging people, and I know I have a tendency of opening messages and just leaving them on read, which is another bad habit that I need to work on. But, you know, because I didn't have people messaging me or like responding to messages, so I had to literally message everyone and be like, oh, not everyone, but, you know, the people that I really wanted to check in on, and be like, oh, you know, how are you doing, how's everything? And that's something I'm still trying to familiarize myself with. And it was also during that time that I was learning just the importance of meeting with people and setting up dates and, calling them just to check in on them and stuff. And so, yeah, like if, you people pleasing does stem from a place of you being surrounded by shallow people, but it's you also have that decision to make. Are you gonna allow yourself, like once you come to that realization, are you gonna allow yourself to continue being surrounded by those people, or are you going to start making it a priority to build meaningful relationships? But I think that's the one thing that I've been struggling with. How do I do that? How do I build meaningful relationships, and what does that even look like? Because it's one thing wanting something, but it's another thing learning how to go, like what are the practical steps. And so I think that's definitely something I'm on a journey discovering. um wait That's one of the things that I'm discovering, and just like, you know what is the importance of communication? Like, why do we communicate? Why is that something that God created? Because yes, we all say, like, you guys, you need to communicate, you need to, you need to communicate how you feel, you need to share all these things, but there's a depth to it that I want to uncover and that I want to have revelation on, which would also help me to prioritize communication with other people, and it would also help me to understand how to go about doing that. But yeah, it's a very interesting topic. And then, like with the other questions that I asked, how do we go about learning and teaching the skills needed to build meaningful relationships with others, not only for ourselves but also for the younger generation? I think that's us having to come to that point, when you come to that realization that this is where you're at, definitely finding people that know how to build meaningful relationships and observing them. That's how we've learned, that's how we evolve from the time when we are babies to like where we are today. It's us observing other people. I mean, even with me, like what I'm studying, I need to observe what my lecturer is doing when she's adjusting the patient, and then from there, I build that skill that I need to adjust my patient and to be able to tell, what the problem, like what exactly is going on with the patient. And so I definitely think like one of the main things is observing. So get yourself to step out of your comfort zone and surround yourself with people that know how to build meaningful relationships. And you don't even need to like tell them like, hey, this is, you can even talk to them and be open and just tell them that, hey, there's something I've been struggling with. I don't know how to do it. And just letting them know like you really want to learn how to build meaningful relationships, and it's okay to be vulnerable. That's also another thing. We have gotten to that point where we are scared of being vulnerable with other people, but it's like, vulnerability is, there's so much power in vulnerability, because you humble yourself and you say that you can't do this, and so you need someone else to help you with it, to teach you. And so I definitely think that's one thing, and from there, like, people are willing to help. Like, that's something I've also been learning. People are always ready to help. If they aren't, then that's on them, but there will be someone. If you're looking in the right places, there will be someone to help you out with whatever it is that you're struggling with. And so yeah, that's definitely one of the things. And I think also in terms of like I look at my siblings and I just feel like they don't, like my brother is intelligent, my younger brother. My younger sister, so I'm speaking from the perspective of my siblings from my mom's side. My younger sister, I don't know, like as they age, obviously, you spend more time on your phone and on Instagram. And I haven't been the best role model because that used to be me. And I was also in a place of me being depressed and just really like going through the most in terms of my mental health. And so I haven't been able to set that good example for them. And that's something I do want to prioritize. But how do I go about doing that? I think obviously I think it comes with pruning and like realizing that, okay, there's certain things that just aren't going to help you. And so you need to cut them out. And I'm not saying this to like normalize the whole cut people out sort of thing. But you just know, like when you see a weed and it's kind of like you looking at a garden and now you're starting to realize that, oh, actually there's a weed growing behind that flower. There's another weed that's growing and I didn't realize it because it looked like a flower. And so you start, uprooting all those things. And I think also just doing it not by your own strength, but also with God and like Him helping you out. That's one of the things. But I don't know. I'm still learning. I don't have more like practical tips. Also learning to be vulnerable. Opening up when you are struggling, like finding people that you can open up to. That's definitely another thing. I don't know. I think also learning, that was another thing that I was thinking about, learning about your identity. Like, where does your identity stem from? And who are you? And that's been the one question I've been asking myself, Tilly. Like, who am I? So I deleted Instagram and I haven't downloaded TikTok like ever since last year. I mean, I did recently, as in like last month, because I needed to take down some of the videos that I took that were just not it. And then I deleted it. Like I didn't have the desire to, use TikTok. And with Instagram, the reason why I did that was because it's been consuming a lot of my time. And rather than me reading my Bible to get revelation from God, about His word, I was watching a lot of Christian TikTok reels. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just I was substituting that with my actual Bible. And I just started to realize that I was just like, I missed having conversations with God and Him revealing stuff to me. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to delete it. And so after deleting that, and I've also been trying not to watch as many YouTube shorts. Like with that being said, I don't really have, like, yes, I can play guitar self-taught, but I don't really know who I am, and I don't really know what I like and what I'm good at. So I actually started sketching or drawing, I guess, and I didn't realize I was kind of good at it. Like I'm not the best, but I'm also not that bad. And so it's like all of those things, but at the same time I just feel like I don't really know who I am. Like I know who I am in Christ, I know the scriptures, but I don't really know, and so I've been on that journey, and it's been interesting. It's been very slow. Like they call it slow living, and it definitely is slow, but it's like, sorry, I think I'm hungry, but I eat. And yeah, it's been taking, like, it's been amazing. Let me just say that. Like, as much as it's slow in terms of me figuring out what I like, what I don't like, what I'm into, what I'm not into. It's been amazing. I've never gone to a cafe by myself before, but I did that. I think it was a week before my birthday or 2 weeks before my birthday. Um, Literally last week, I went to run my mom's errands on Friday, and I went to Postnet, and then from there I went to like the coffee thingy that was there. So I bought myself a mocha, and in that moment I was like, maybe I should book an Uber, but I just felt so much peace with walking. So I walked for 17 minutes up a hill. Like that road, that was a hill. And I walked back home and it was so peaceful. Like I've been having so much peace with just where I am now. And yeah, so I'm grateful for that. And you learn to just appreciate the small moments. That's what I've been learning. And in terms of how the way the world is currently influence you to raise your child or younger siblings, I actually don't know. I feel like I've been talking for too long, but let me answer that question. I think I want to be more of a role model for my siblings, and I think that's the main thing. Like once you start doing it for yourself, and once those around you start seeing the fruit of it, it's a lot easier for you to impact them. Because then it's like they start to see it from a perspective of, oh, if you could do it, then I can do it. So if I could cut out certain things, then you can cut out certain things. And you also get to a point where I think teaching a child and learning for yourself just how to, like, understanding who you are, like that definitely helps. Because I feel like a lot of people, because they're so shallow, I also used to be that person. I'm still learning more about myself. I only know myself on like the shallow aspect of it, but I know that there's so much within me that I can, still discover. And so I think once you start getting deep with yourself, you also start attracting people that are deep with you, and with that, like, you create a community where you can be what you want to be. So create a community of people or find people that are desiring to, to hone this skill of building meaningful relationships with people, and people that already know how to. I'm not saying that there's one way of doing it. Like, it's something you continuously learn every year, or like during the time of your life. But it's like, find people that have walked this journey, or that are walking this journey, and walk with them. Would I prioritize teaching them that skill? I would definitely prioritize teaching them that skill, and I wouldn't think it's irrelevant, because it's just one of those things that I think should be valued like gold or diamonds or whatever is valuable. And no one can ever take that skill away from you once you have it. And it's a way for you to also relate with other people. And it's a way for you to stand out. Like, a lot of people don't know how to build meaningful relationships. And so you know, when you have that, it's I don't know. Anyways, would I base my upbringing on what I think the child may prioritize? I think leading by example is definitely the one thing. Like, even in terms of friends, like your current friends, you know, lead by example. The same thing that Jesus did. He led by example. He walked the walk. You know, and he didn't just say stuff and not do. He did, like he spoke, and he did. You know, like he would say certain things and he would do it. And so it wasn't like he wasn't a hypocrite. And so I think also, like, you can't expect someone else to be doing something but then you're not doing it. Ooh, that convicted me a bit. Oh my gosh, that is so deep. Yeah. Yo, that is actually so deep. That is so deep. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I was supposed to talk about something else from last week, which was about... What was it about? I took screenshots because I still need to make a post on it. I just cannot remember what I touched on. Let me just check quickly. It was beholding the lamb and like what that means, and just the analogy of how why it's difficult to let go of certain things. See, I need to make a video on that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm not going to edit it. I'm literally just going to post it right now, and I'm going to go study because I have my OSCE tomorrow. Yes. Oh my gosh, guys. I have started studying, but yeah. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video, I guess. Bye.